Give me 1 second. I am going to turn the volume down. Profile. There's something that I've been wanting to do. Okay, so this was weird, but I wanted this so that I can add my other account as a moderator. There. And now get off of there. Okay. So I chose this time only to go live on one TikTok channel. And the reason for that is then this way I'll be able to use my phone for the for music in the background when we're doing the meditation. I found that the last couple of meditations that I've done, that the sound has been a bit choppy in the background, and I think it's because I was playing the music through the computer and then recording it on the computer. So what I like to do on Saturdays in Return to Center is I like to do a check-in, an energy check-in, and I do that with my tarot and oracle cards. I'm using custom sets. These are all sets that I personally have drawn. There are all my work. I went through a phase where I used to do a lot of tarot readings. I actually used to spend about 3 hours a day here, Monday to Friday, doing readings. And then I took a hiatus from that, and it was because I stopped aligning with certain. I stopped aligning with other people's decks, and that's because I ended up drawing my own. And when I drew my own deck of cards, then I just didn't want to use anybody else's. And also at the same time, I was starting to become very aware that there are a lot of people who are not as honorable as they say that they are. And we can look at Deepak Chopra right now and see how relevant that is, in that people aren't as honorable as we think they are. So I would get these little tingles, or I'd get this vibe from certain decks that they maybe weren't as positive as I had thought they were, or they didn't align with me in some way. So I went through this whole phase of not using any oracle or tarot decks, and I just kind of stopped doing cards. I finally started making my own and actually getting them to the point where I can use them. And so now I am back to doing that, but I do it with my own custom decks. And that makes me feel a lot better. I have so many decks that are in I shouldn't say so many. I do have quite a few that are in the works. My favorite and the only tarot deck that I have is the Ethereal Tarot. That's the only one I've created thus far. It is also an expanded tarot deck because it has the fifth element, the ether element. And within that fifth element, there's also the cosmic key that is an additional card. So you can take the fifth element out of the ether element out of the deck, and you can also take out the cosmic key. And then you have a standard, hi Mandy, then you have a standard tarot deck. I also have my 44 keys of the way, and I have my truth and discernment deck, which might be called Christic discernment, but it's at least the truth and discernment deck. And I also have a monad deck, but I have a bunch that I'm working on in the background, and we're just going to do a collective check-in, and then we're going to have our global meditation. That's the point of today, is to bring not just us as an individual back to center, but it's also to use the power of unity and the power of when one or more people come together, it just amplifies everything that we do. So if we can all focus on peace, if we can all focus on unity, on love, on truth, right? We want the truth to come out, even if it makes it uncomfortable in those phases when the truth is coming out, but we do want it to come out because it's the only way that we can make changes, right? All righty, let's see what's up for the collective for today. What do we have going on for the collective today, Spirit? Can I get a good message? Yep, we can. I guess we really can. All right, what else do we have? Okay. They're just flying, right? Okay. I got to pick up a couple of cards off the ground. Okay. That's good. That's good. There's a lot of energy. Let's catch them before we get too far. Oh, and let me look at what we have here. Holy moly. We are going through it. Somebody is going through it, and it's okay because we want to go through it to get to the other side. All right. I got to look at these cards. We're going to sort them. We're going to sort them a little bit. So far, those are all upright, but that doesn't necessarily matter because upright doesn't always ensure that it's a good message. It all depends on the card, but I do like to sort them from the reverse message and the upright message. I feel like this is just, this is way too much. All right. We're going to go through this a little bit quicker. What I feel is that like somebody's experiencing a tower moment, and tower moments don't always, look like everything crumbling. But in society, that's what we're seeing right now. Right? We're seeing all of these things. So the Knight of Air in the reverse would be impulsiveness, recklessness, taking action without thinking about what you're doing beforehand, rushing into situations without forethought. Right? Where are we seeing this right now? I think if we look at the political scene, right, we're seeing a lot of that come out collectively, that it looks like things are happening without people aren't making the right decisions, right? They're not thinking about things or thinking things through thoroughly. But that is part of the deception that we're under, right? If we look at the 10 of Air also being in the reversed position, this is resistance to change. There's difficulty letting go, maybe holding on to pain and delaying the inevitable. The longer that we hold on to things, the longer that we're going to experience that pattern in our life. If we want to truly move beyond that, we have to be willing to let it go. But oftentimes we've attached so many stories to it. And, I can tell you that I have put people on pedestals. Like I was taught by my mom to do so with my partners, specifically, to put them on a pedestal. And I did that. And when you have somebody, what you see, how you see somebody is not how they necessarily are. And when we're doing stuff like that, where we're putting people on pedestals, then that's when we are definitely experiencing a distortion between who they are and what we think or how we think they are. And we have to get real with ourselves. We have to get true and see who they are, right? And then that's when you can let go cleanly, because you start to realize that the reason why they were so good is because you saw them that way, because you saw them from the depths of your soul. So if you have, a pure, true heart, then you're going to think that more people that they have a pure, true heart, and that can put you in line to getting hurt if you're not careful. So you have to learn your boundaries. So we had death and rebirth in the shadow, and it's again resistance to change. There's a lot of resistance to change, and that's what the collective's going through right now, is this resistance to change and that fear of letting go, right? I said in the one channeled message that I did about how some people they actually love their cage, right? They don't see anything wrong with the cage that they're in. So because they don't see an issue with it, there's no desire to change. And those are the people that show you what it's like to stay asleep, when you don't wake up, when you don't keep questioning things, when you just absorb everything that the media is telling you as truth, or everybody else is telling you. So those people that question things, and you should be questioning things. Why do I believe things that I do? Why do I vote the way that I do? Why do I, where did I get this from? Where did I get this belief from? What do I think about me? What do I think about life? What do I think about all of these things? So these, we're going through it right now collectively. We also have the 6 of ether in the shadow, and this is resistance to moving forward. So again, more resistance to moving forward, and these are in, mentally, we're looking at it with the air, we're looking at major arcana with the death and rebirth card. So this is affecting like the entire collective, that it's the collective that we're going through this death and rebirth, but we're being resistance to it, right? True growth requires that surrender. It requires all of us to release the old and be willing to accept the new, right? Embrace the fire, let yourself be transformed, and trust that this is not an end. It's a powerful new beginning. So the 6 of ether, it's that fear of change as well, the clinging to the past, the stagnation in spiritual evolution. So speaking about the spiritual aspect, we have the 3 of ether, and this is also in the reversed position for the collective. So there's resistance to collaboration. Too much of society is still sitting within that competitive mode, right? This comparison or competing, and we're doing neither. We're meant to collaborate. We're meant to help guide each other home, right? And so there's also, with the 3 of ether, maybe you're isolating yourself, but not in a way of trying to, access inner wisdom, or, just to have some mindfulness and some peace and some space like that. But you're isolating yourself from everything. There is, possibility that you have this difficulty, or I shouldn't say that you do, it's this collective. The collective has this issue around the divine timing, and, they're not connecting spiritually. Hi, Midlight Purple. In order for you to connect spiritually, you actually have to sit and go within, right? And it's not necessarily about meditating, but you do have to take a moment and sit with yourself, and you have to go within. You can't hear anything if you don't shut up. And you have to shut your mind up too. We have the 7 of fire. The collective, it is exhausted. It is feeling overwhelmed. Maybe they're questioning their path. Like some of the people that are on their mission, they may be questioning at this point. And I think a lot of us began questioning a little bit more when we went through the PDF files that came out. Once those came out and we didn't see a change in society, and we saw very few people actually go, oh my God. So because of that lack of response, that really hit a lot of us that were awake really early on and aware of those things prior to, because it just made us kind of lose a little hope that change was going to happen. So there's this overwhelm that's happening, and it's by design, right? We're being inundated with all of this fear and division and polarity and so many things, right? You're meant to hate your neighbor, you're meant to hate everybody, and you're meant to be in fear and live in lack. And that's what they're trying to do to us. So they're coming at us from all sides. And that can be overwhelming. So you need to have some practices that allow you to come back to yourself, to come back to center. For those of us that have trauma and, haven't delved into our shadows or done any of that, this is going to feel really, really chaotic and difficult energy right now. We also have the Queen of Fire in the inverted position. And this is, again, only instead of being the fear of change and, that energy, that this is self-doubt. This is applied to yourself. And, that there's, maybe you're burning out, you're overextending your energy, or you're fearing your own brilliance. So that, again, not stepping into your power. And some of that came up with the spiritual cards that were reversed. Right? The whole collective is worried about stepping into their power. And I think a lot of us just don't even realize how powerful we are. Every person that stands up and says that I do not consent, that's like ringing a bell of frequency across the world. world that is going to wake other people up, right? People will look at the ones that stand back and say, I'm not doing that. You can do whatever you want, but I refuse. You might get some people that are like, wow, that's a really crazy person. But many people will stand and go, why are they standing so firmly against so many? There must be something to it, because truth doesn't need to be forceful. You don't need to beat someone over the head. You don't need to scream it in their face. You can say it steady, calmly, at a normal voice. It's the truth, right? And they will feel it because it's going to resonate through the energy. So that Queen of Fire is asking you to step into your power. It's asking all of us to step into our power, to know your power, to know your brilliance, and not be afraid to shine right now. We also had the Page of Fire in the shadow. And guess what this is going to talk about? Again, this is not, well, this is actually impulsiveness and recklessness and can be the lack of direction. But again, it's self-doubt. So there's just a lot of self-doubt out there in the collective right now. And, you trust the fire within. So go within, center yourself, steady yourself, and then take that step forward from that space. Make decisions from that space. If you are not clear, then don't make the decision. Do the work to get clear, and make sure that you're not listening to your ego, because a lot of times it's your ego that's the one that's not clear. It's not your higher self. Your higher self has the whole path. It has the whole map. All right. Then we get the Four of Fire coming in. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do these two cards first. We'll do the Four of Fire after these two. I want to talk about the Tower because that's what we're experiencing collectively, right? We are seeing this all around us, where the old structures are crumbling, and we need that to happen so we can make room for the new, right? Without the light being shined into the dark, you're not going to see what's in there. So we need to keep shining our light on it and revealing the truth so that we can do something about it. But that truth is going to come with some chaos, right? It's going to come with disruption to the normal systems that are there. So we need to be aware of that. And for us, we are the ones that need to remain steady and calm and grounded, peaceful. We have to stay in that state because we hold the field for everybody else that's awakening, that's going through this type of energy, right? So the more of us that can stay in that peace and that calm, the more that we hold down the foundation for everybody else. We have the Three of Air. The Three of Air can be signifying heartbreak. It can be that there's maybe this deep realization that came through, and it's necessary pain, right? Because now you have emotional clarity and acceptance, and that's going to allow us to release. This Three of Air is a beautiful card to have right now. The collective is getting clear. And by getting clear, that's going to be the change that we need, the wave that's going to come from that. So through the Three of Air, though the Three of Air, throwing an R in there because of the 3-3, though the Three of Air brings discomfort, it also is the card that liberates, right? It is the storm that clears stagnation. It's making space for renewal. Trust what is revealed is meant to set you free. So what we're seeing is going to set us free. Then we have the Four of Wands, and we have the Ten of Water. So these two cards, this one is the sacred foundation, and this is about completion, success. So success is coming for the collective. We are going to be successful, right? We are going to be celebrating, but we need to create the foundation first. And that's the important part. And that's what a lot of us are doing. And if you feel called or feel like you have a purpose or a passion that's, like a mission, then you can't delay any longer. You need to be doing that because we need that to create the success, right? Every single structure that crumbles, there needs to be either, the realization that we didn't need that structure at all, or there needs to be a new structure that gets built in place to take over for that. If everything crumbled all at once without the new structure being built, it would cause a lot of problems. It would cause unnecessary deaths and so on. So we need to do it in a proper way, collectively. All right, 10 of water. So the 10 of water is ultimate emotional fulfillment. This is one big happy family energy. And this is soul family as well as physical family, although it will be more applicable to soul family, because even though you incarnate into the family that you have, and there is ancestral or lineage stuff that you pick up to transmute through your spiritual energy, you choose to do that. Though, and you have that love, and for some of us we have a lot of dysfunction, and for some of us we have complete and utter detachment from our families, because of the traumas that we experienced, and those were the experiences that we agreed upon. But for many of us, the families that we incarnate with now are not our soul family. We don't actually feel like really connected strongly to our family, and then we'll meet somebody later on in life and we'll feel so entirely connected, and it's because you guys actually we're like two stars side by side, and that's your soul family you're created in that little space. So this ultimate fulfillment, anyway, it's your emotional fulfillment. And because we're talking collectively, we're all moving towards the energy of this collective emotional fulfillment, success and emotional fulfillment. So the 10 of water is a powerful confirmation that you have secured a place of deep emotional fulfillment and divine alignment, whether in relationships, personal, or in spiritual connection, right? So whether it's for you personally, it's in your relationships, wherever it is, this energy is there across the board, right? So spiritual connection, you are surrounded by love, and your heart is wide open to receive the blessings of the universe. So that's the message for the collective from these beautiful Etherian Tarot cards. I'm going to pull a couple from the 44 Keys of the Way. All right, so let's see what we have in that coming up. Oh, cool. Do we have one more? I have two, so maybe we'll just leave it with the two. All right, I got to grab the one off the floor. Now, the beauty about the 44 Keys of the Way Oracle is that it only has upright. There's no shadow. So the first card that we have is the Creative Spark. So this I'm going to be giving, it's being applied more individually. So if you're watching this, then this one's for you. So the Creative Spark. Your affirmation is that creativity flows naturally through me. Remembrance. Creativity is an expression, not a performance. It increases energy when used. Small outputs keep it active. So if you can go do a little bit of creativity and then go do a little bit of creativity and do some structure, do some other things, that's the creative spark, right? And when we're doing those little creative things, it's giving us little bursts of energy. And that's how I do my day. TT, thank you, Carol. Love you, babe. The practice. Number 1, create for 10 minutes. Number 2, no editing. Ooh. Number 3, stop on time. Those all might be challenging things, but the two that follow the starting for 10 minutes might be, doing only 10 minutes and no edits might be a challenge. All right. The other card that came out, and again, this is for you individually versus what we were just doing a moment ago, which was the collective energy. So we have the living legacy, the affirmation, my life contributes to the future. Remembrance, daily actions accumulate into legacy. Small choices scale over time. Intention guides direction. Your practice, choose one habit to build. 2, do it today. 3, repeat it tomorrow. Do it today and repeat it tomorrow. Okay, so those are your 44 Keys of the Way messages for today. So we're just going to get ready now to do the meditation. I'm going to have a little bit of sip of tea just to wet my throat. and we can chat for a little bit. Please comment where you're watching from. I know everybody here is from TikTok, so you don't have to comment. You're the only one on TikTok. But up there, I have 2 YouTube channels and also a Facebook channel. So whichever channel you're watching this on, and if you're catching the replay, let me know that you're catching it as a replay and what channel it's on. Although I'm sure that I'll see that because I'll get the message on that channel. So you'd probably just have to say repeat, which is perfect. So the beauty about it is that time is an illusion, right? The only thing that's actually ever true about time is the now. In this present moment that is continuously evolving, that is the only true time. Everything else becomes either a part of your imagination because you're imagining what the future will become, or it's a part of the past, which means it's a memory that you keep. And your memory may be accurate, may not be accurate. It may be somewhat like the other person's. Think about, if you had an accident and you asked, everybody at the scene what they saw, how many different versions of events there would be. So imagine how many different versions of history there truly are, right? So just a thing to ponder, while I take a sip. That being said, we are connected always through the present moment of the now. So when anybody catches this on a recording, you're joining into that energy. So there'll be people that will be meditating with us months from now because this particular meditation will land on their feed that day for some particular reason. It's just meant to. And they'll meditate, and it's as if they're meditating today with us because time is an illusion. It's all happening now. Okay. So I was just reading the one name that popped up on my thing. All right. I'm going to look for some music. Don't everybody chat all at once. Oh, 11. It's 11:10, guys. Oh my goodness. No time to waste. You got in right on time to have the meditation. All righty. What tune are we? Which one are we on right now? I think this one might actually. Yep, this is perfect. All right. I have to check the volume on it. You'll have to let me know if that's too loud. And because I will also soften my voice. Once I start channeling the meditation, I will soften my voice possibly to this volume. So can you still hear me at this volume with the music? And can you hear the music? Good. Oh, okay. I have a quick question for everybody. Do you know what the flower of life is? Do you know what the flower of life looks like? Because I want to use some sacred geometry today. And if you do know what it looks like, that's fantastic. I do have... Oh, I got all excited, but it's the Merkaba, or it's Metatron's. It's Metatron's cube. I got all excited, but wait, I do have one in that. I think it's the flower. It is. Yay! Okay, you don't need to know what it looks like. The flower of life is that design. Okay, so that's the flower of life. Okay, so all right, so everybody has the flower of life. Do you know what a Merkaba is? Do you know what a Merkaba is? I'm just going to hold that up so that you can see. We're going to be meditating. We're going to be doing a global meditation. So I want to use sacred geometry as a part of that. So I'm just making sure that everyone understands what the sacred geometry looks like. So if you take a 3-sided triangle pyramid and you nested them inside one another, that would be what you would see, what that would be a Merkaba. So the top triangle pyramid would come down from the top of your head, say to about your knees. And then the bottom pyramid would start at the point at the feet, and it would extend up to where it would be about the shoulder height. That would be your own personal Merkaba, and you can expand it. But so it's 2 nesting triangle pyramids. Does that help? Can you vision it now? I do have a Merkaba. It's a tiny one though, but a tiny one. So it might not show very well on the thing anyway. Okay, so that's, even if you don't, this is the other thing. Even if you don't in your physical human form, like in your logic center, not know that, your soul does. Your soul absolutely knows what a Merkaba is, what the flower of life is, what all of that is. And so if I ask you to visualize that, if you can't visualize that, it's okay, because you're setting the intention, and your soul knows what you're visualizing, right? So you're still participating within it. Okay. Alrighty, let's get this started. We're at a half hour, just over a half an hour in to today's live. So what I always suggest for everybody before we start is to first make sure that your device is put down someplace securely. So, sometimes when you're meditating, you kind of lose a little bit of control of your body. And I don't want you to drop your device and break it or hurt it or anything. And I also don't want you to fall over and hurt yourself. So also make sure that you're in a safe position to do it. Please do not engage in this meditation with eyes closed while you're driving a vehicle or operating heavy equipment or doing anything that requires your eyes. Please keep them open. Okay. Yeah, just pause and come back to this when you are in a safe space to do so. All right, I'm going to put this up on my computer. You won't be able to see me, but I don't know if that would work actually. That might make it, that wouldn't work. I don't think that would work. I was thinking I could hold that up over the screen like that, but it won't work. It won't work. I would have to hold it, and I don't want to do that. All right, so we've got the flower of life image in our mind, and we also know that our oversoul is going to very much be able to show that symbol for us, regardless of whether we can, in our minds, see it or not. All righty. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes, and I'm going to close my eyes with you, because when I channel, I like to channel with my eyes closed. And I also like to channel from what I call a state. And to get into state, you're going to join me. And it's taking a breath in through your nose, down into your tummy. You put a hand on your lower belly and one on your chest, right? So on your chest and your sacral, or your heart and your sacral chakras. When you're breathing in, you're going to want to feel your lower hand move and then the upper hand move. And then you're going to pause for just a brief second and then exhale nice and slowly through pursed lips, like you're blowing out candles. And you want to make the exhale longer than the inhale. That's how we're going to start. And we're going to do 3 breaths like that. And then I'm going to get you to change your breathing, and I'll talk to you at that moment then. Okay, so first thing, close your eyes and start breathing in through the nose into your lower hand. And fill all the way up, and then pause before letting out. In through your nose, spiraling down your spine into your lower belly. Pausing at the top and exhaling slowly. Another breath in through the nose, spiraling down the spine into the tummy. Up to the chest and pause. And out, nice and slow. Now we're going to breathe in a very specific pattern. We're going to breathe inhale through our heart space and exhale through our heart space. And you can continue just there through the heart, in and out at about 5 seconds. You can change that to what fits you really well. And while you're breathing in and out over 5 seconds, what you're doing is creating heart coherence with your brain. Okay, so you can do that as the beginner state, or if you want, you can breathe one time in and out through the heart, then one time in and out through the crown, and then one time in and out through the sacral, so where your lower hand is. Begin which one works for you, which you feel more comfortable with. In and out, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. If you're switching, it's crown next. If you're switching, sacral. Back to heart. Back to crown. Back to sacral. Back to heart. Back to crown. Back to sacral. Now continue breathing at a normal rate for you and just follow my voice. The first thing that I'm going to do is put a sphere around us. This is a sphere of protection to protect us against any unwanted energies. It also clears everybody who is within this meditation so that the only thing that is allowed is divine love, divine truth, divine peace, divine wisdom. Within this sphere is the divine flower of life. The beauty about sacred geometry is it's not just a shape. It actually carries universal law. The flower of life has the power to restore the original divine organic blueprint. And as we sit this within the sphere, moving, covering the entire space, surrounding us, passing through each of us, know that this is healing you. And for this to take effect, you can direct your body to incorporate the flower of life into each and every cell, returning you to your original divine organic blueprint. As this is happening, see yourself lightening from the top of your head, slowly progressing downward, as if the cells that aligned at the crown first, moving down through your hair and your scalp, down your forehead, through your third eye, through your void space in the center of your mind, down your nose, your eyes, your mouth, your jaw. Feel it on all of your teeth, your bones. Every cell in your body is lighting up to the original divine organic blueprint. As you see this progressing through you, visualize that the darkness that is coming out is pouring down into Mother Gaia through a root system at the bottom of your feet. And it is here that Mother Gaia is transmuting it with the assistance of Mother, Father, Source into love, pure Source love. It passes down your chest and your shoulders, your arms, passes through your rib cage, your heart, through all of your organs, your stomach, your intestines, through your skin, through your vessels, through your fascia, moves through your hips, your pelvis, through your bladder and through your genitals, through your legs, and down into your feet and out through your hands. And you are completely cleansed. Every one of your cells clear and in the original divine organic blueprint. From this state where we are all clear, we are going to share this with Mother Gaia and all life, all beings. We're going to send the flower of life down around the earth, through every bit of it, the same as we did ourselves. And as it passes over the earth and through every inhabitant, every life form, see it lightning the same as you did as it washed through you. And once again, that flower of light, that flower of life, is restoring everything to the original divine organic blueprint. This restores us to the point before manipulation, before distortion, before corruption, before everything was hijacked and twisted and inverted. When we pass it through the earth and we pass it through all life and all beings, the elements are being reminded of their original divine organic blueprint as well. The weather patterns on the earth can restore to what they normally are, how they're meant to be. Everything that's being released and cleansed as the original organic blueprint is put on the earth again. Whatever's removed and released is transmuted straight to divine love, pure source light. As this moves through the earth, piercing through the veil with clarity, filling hearts with divine love and unity, peace is settling around the world. It settles into every heart that does this meditation and every heart that we send it to. As the flower of life passes through the earth, we're now going to move on to the next symbol, We're going to put a Merkaba around Mother Gaia. One already exists, but I'm going to include you in feeling like you're placing it there, but it actually is always being. And we're going to work with our own Merkaba first, and then Mother Gaia, and then effectively every being on Earth. As I explained earlier, a Merkaba is two triangles, one with the point up, a triangular pyramid with a point up, and the other one is a triangular pyramid with the point down. And these nest inside each other. And your own personal Merkaba is your light vehicle, your light body vehicle. As you see these two triangles, the top starting above your head and going down to around your knees, and the top starting below your feet and going up to about your shoulders. You're going to spin these in opposite directions. You're going to spin the top clockwise and the bottom counterclockwise. And just allow it to spin. And as it does, it is going to align you with your highest timeline. And it's going to clear out any attachments, any cords, any interference, anything that has you either detached from your highest timeline or on another timeline that has you not living at your fullest expression. And allow it to cleanse your field, cleanse you of any contracts you signed in delusion or disillusion, that you signed under manipulation or duress. Cleanse anything from your field that you have received because you thought that you were signing something that was in light and was aligned and was truthful, only to find out that it was not. Anything that you did not knowingly, with knowledge and awareness, consent to, allow that to be cleansed from your field now. You can ask your Merkaba to lock in and stay spinning at this rate, protecting, keeping you aligned, and cleansing your field. Next, we're going to do the same for Mother Gaia. Her Merkaba extending well beyond her size, her nesting completely within. And as we spin this Merkaba, it is helping Mother Gaia in her ascension. And it's helping every single being, human and otherwise, who is ascending and choosing to ascend. It assists them in their pathway as well. It clears the illusions, the misinformation, the distortions, the lies. It clears the old timelines and the wrong connections to put everything in alignment with the connections that are your highest good and the highest for Mother Gaia. Now, I want you to think of how you would feel in complete and utter peace. And maybe you feel that right now in this moment. You feel peaceful. I do. And from this space of peace, I'm putting a blanket over the earth, surrounding every bit of Mother Gaia and all of her beings, from top to bottom, inside and out, with peace. Next, we're going to focus on the feeling of love. I hope that you can think of something or someone, hopefully yourself, that can bring love to your body and that emotion. And maybe it's just love for all. And bring that to your heart. And when it's nice and full of that love emotion, we're going to send that out to the world for anyone who's looking for that, anyone who is looking to be reminded that they are loved, who are feeling alone and lost and empty right now, who maybe feel their hope is waning or almost lost. For all of those that want to be reminded what love feels like or what connection feels like unity consciousness, give that love to them so that they do know they are connected to well beyond just their physical body and well beyond just what they're experiencing in their life. They're connected to beings who love them and who are doing work to share that love with them and to share peace. To help with unity, we're going to look at the beautiful earth as if it's an orb sitting in front of you, spinning. And you can see this beautiful crystalline grid, which really looks like that flower of life, intersecting through and around, passing through every single node, which would be a human, a sacred site, through an animal, through every single life is connected through this beautiful field, this divine matrix. See that lighting up. See it attaching through every bit of life that exists. See that light energy traveling between us all. Call upon someone you know who's far away and see that light going from you to them, knowing that you are connected. See it reaching around the world into the hearts of people you've never met. Maybe you saw someone on social media that lived in Nigeria and you can just picture their face and send that to them, that beautiful, loving energy across the world, that connection, that light, that we are all one. And now we're going to call upon truth. Truth may not be easy, and that's why we've laid the foundation with peace, love, and unity. For truth, we return to the tree. In the center of the earth sprouts a tree so grand and magnificent, purely energetic, that extends. This tree stores all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the truth. It's not the victor's version of history. It is the actual record, the true knowledge. See that tree lit up and the information being sent out through that beautiful crystal grid to every node, every sacred site, every human heart, every being, every animal, every plant, all of it connecting to the divine truth. See people awakening to the knowledge that they're receiving, awakening to the truth that they're experiencing. And as you see them awakening, send them peace, love, and unity. Let them know they're not alone, for there are many others who are aware of the truth, just as they are. And we are all connected. Before we end this meditation, I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. By the authority of Prime Source, the Divine Mother, Father, Creator, it is done. And now you're going to put your focus back on yourself, your feet, your fingers, and start to move your feet around and wiggle your fingers. Move your shoulders, maybe sway back and forth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and return to this moment. How beautiful was that? What a lovely meditation. I quite enjoyed that. And that's interesting that you put that down, Big Heart. That's actually my other channel. My podcast is The Truth Will Set You Free. I have a podcast called that. That's amazing. Synchronicities, right? And it's actually One Truth Will Set You Free is the handle on TikTok and YouTube, but the podcast is titled The Truth Will Set You Free. And it does. It absolutely does. So yeah, how did you enjoy that? I'm going to have to extract that part of the, and hopefully it sounded really good on my computer, but I'll have to extract that part of the meditation and share it and keep the collective reading separate from it and all the other stuff that we did. But yeah, I'll put that up on YouTube as a meditation that people can return to and do whenever they need to. But yeah, thank you for joining me today and hanging out with me. And I hope that you have a wonderful Saturday. I'm going to pop off here because I have a bunch of things to do. I like to harness the energy of Saturday, which is under Saturn. So that is definitely all about responsibilities. And so here I am to go and do some of those responsible things. I love you at 11:44 and 1.4 on the likes there as well. Have a wonderful day. And now, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.